Then one morning, something unexpected happened. He received a letter. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter delivered to his front gate. At first, he ignored it. But curiosity got the best of him. He opened the envelope and saw Mama Ada's handwriting. "My son," the letter began, "I know I do not deserve your forgiveness. But please hear me. I have been sick. I cannot sleep. I cannot eat. My bones are weak. I miss you, my son. I miss your voice, your presence, your laughter. I know we wronged you. I know we destroyed your trust. But I beg you, please forgive us. If not for anyone else, please forgive your mother. Even if you don't want to talk to me, let me see your face one more time before I die. Your loving mother, Ada." Chijioke read the letter 3 times. Each time it hit harder than the last. His hands trembled slightly as he folded the paper and placed it in his drawer. He didn't cry. He didn't sigh. He just sat there in silence. The next few days were harder than usual. He found himself remembering the past again. The small compound where they lived. The time his mother used to bathe him outside during Harmattan. The way she danced when he passed his WAEC. The way she cried the day he got his visa. Not everything had been fake. Not everything had been wickedness. But was that enough to open his heart again? He called Halima to his office. "Please get me the next available flight to Enugu," he said quietly. Halima blinked. "Sir, Enugu?" "Yes, I'm going home." 2 days later, he arrived in his village wearing a black t-shirt, jeans, and dark sunglasses. He came alone. No driver, no assistant, no one. The village had not changed much. The roads were still rough. The air still smelled of burning firewood and wet earth. Children still chased tires on the roadside. When he got to his family compound, he stood at the gate for a moment. His chest tightened. His legs almost refused to move. But he walked in. He saw Ada first. She was outside, peeling cassava. When she looked up and saw him, the bowl dropped from her hands. "Chijioke?" she whispered. He didn't speak. He just nodded. She ran to him and fell to her knees, crying. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We didn't know what we were doing. Please forgive us." He didn't touch her. He didn't lift her up. He just asked, "Where is Mama?" Ada pointed toward the room at the back. He walked past her and entered the house. The living room looked worse than before. It smelled of dust and regret. In the back room, Mama Ada lay on a mat, looking smaller than he remembered. Her eyes were closed, but when she heard footsteps, they opened slowly. She blinked, unsure if she was dreaming. "Chiji, is that you?" He knelt beside her. For a moment he couldn't speak. Then finally he said, "I got your letter." She reached out with weak hands and touched his face. "My son, you came." He closed his eyes. "I came." She began to cry softly. "Forgive me, my son. I don't want to die like this. I don't want to go without seeing your smile again." He looked into her eyes and said, "I don't know if I can forget what you all did to me. But I don't want to hate you anymore. I'm tired of hating." She smiled faintly. "That's enough for me. Thank you, Chijioke. Thank you." He stayed in the village for 3 days. He didn't speak much to the others. He spent most of his time with Mama Ada, helping her eat, taking her outside for fresh air, telling her stories about his work. The others watched from a distance, unsure of what to say or do. When it was time to leave, she held his hand tightly. "Will I see you again?" "I don't know," he replied honestly, "but I'll send someone to take care of you. You'll be fine." She nodded. "That's all I need." He returned to Abuja the next day. When he stepped into his mansion, the silence felt different. Not lighter, not heavier, just different. Like a storm had passed, but the clouds were still deciding whether to stay or go. He went back to work. He smiled more. He spoke more gently to his staff. But the wall around his heart remained. Not as tall, but still there. His siblings kept trying. Uchenna sent emails. Ada sent pictures of Mama's improvement. Ibuka even recorded a video, begging for forgiveness. But Chijioke didn't respond. He wasn't being cruel. He was protecting what was left of himself. One night, as he looked out the window of his bedroom, he whispered to himself, "They showed me who they are. I showed them who I became. That's enough." And with that, he turned off the lights and went to bed. Not in sadness, not in anger, but in peace. A hard-earned peace that only a man who had walked through fire could understand. He returned to Abuja and slipped back into his life as if nothing had changed. He woke early each morning to the sound of his alarm, dressed in crisp shirts and trousers, and walked through the halls of Bold Move Logistics with purpose. He greeted his staff with a polite nod and a steady smile that never betrayed the wall he had built inside him. The mansion stood tall behind him, gleaming in the afternoon sun, but it had become little more than a place to rest his head at night. His real home had become the office, where work filled the spaces left by doubt and pain. In the weeks that followed, Chijioke threw himself into growing his business even further. He negotiated new contracts, expanded into neighboring states, and hired managers he could trust. He traveled for days at a time, inspecting logistics hubs in Kaduna and Port Harcourt, always accompanied by a small entourage of drivers and assistants. He ate his meals alone in hotel rooms, his only company a stack of reports and his own determined thoughts. Sleep was scarce, but exhaustion was a welcome numbness. Meanwhile, back in the village, news of his success drifted like dust on the wind. His brothers and sister lived in the same battered house that he had abandoned. They sold the few possessions they had left, ornaments, old clothes, even their mother's jewelry, to pay off debts. Ada had married young, hoping to escape the shame of their family's ruin, but the marriage ended in divorce when her husband discovered the lies. Uchenna lost his teaching job after he was caught forging documents to get a promotion. Ibuka moved to Lagos to find work, where he washed cars and waited tables. Their lives were a far cry from the cozy home they had dreamed of while spending his money. One rainy afternoon, Chijioke sat in his office reviewing shipment routes when his receptionist handed him an envelope. It was thick and heavy, sealed with red wax. He recognized the handwriting immediately, his sister's. He hesitated before breaking the seal. Inside he found a letter and a small stack of photographs. The photographs showed the old family home half torn down, the paint peeling, the windows cracked. In the foreground stood Ibuka, soaked from the rain, holding a placard that read, "Please forgive us." The letter was written in shaky cursive. "I know we hurt you. We are sorry. Mama is gone. We had to bury her with the little money we had. It was all we could do. Please come home so we can apologize face to face and ask you to help us rebuild our lives. Your loving sister, Ada." He sat motionless for a long time, staring at the photos. His mother's death hit him like a blow he had refused to feel before. He pressed a hand against his chest and remembered the way she looked, the warmth of her laughter, how she had begged him not to hate them. Tears stung his eyes, but he swallowed them back. He folded the letter, slipped it into his pocket, and continued his work. He did not call Ada. He did not tell anyone he had received the letter. Her plea became another test, another moment when he would decide whether to open or close his heart. Days passed. His business continued to thrive. He opened a second office in Kaduna and launched a sister company handling freight forwarding. He invested in property, buying plots of land in Abuja's outskirts. He frequented high-end hotels and restaurants, but always alone. He built a routine so rigid that his heart could not wander back to the village or the pain it held. Then one afternoon, as he sat at his desk, the phone rang. He recognized the number. Ibuka, calling from Lagos. He silenced his inner voice that told him to hang up and answered. "Hello. Chiji, it's me," Ibuka said, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry. We are sorry. I sold my small car to raise money to come see you, but I got mugged on the way. I lost everything. Please, please help me. I have nowhere to go." Chijioke closed his eyes and let out a breath he did not realize he had been holding. "You sold your car? For what?" "For the journey," Ibuka whispered. "I wanted to beg you in person." There was a long silence. Then Chijioke said, "Don't come. I can't see you." "I understand," Ibuka said. "But I'm lost. Mama is buried. The house is gone. We are nothing without you." When Ibuka hung up, Chijioke set the phone down and stared at it as though it were a burning coal. He felt sympathy. He felt sorrow. But he felt nothing of the brother he once knew. He picked up the phone again and dialed his driver. "Samuel, send a car to pick up a man named Tunde from the Lagos bus station. I'll pay his fare. Get him here this evening." Samuel arrived on time. The man was hulled over, exhausted, smelling of sweat and rain. Chijioke greeted him without warmth. "Sit," he said, nodding toward a chair in his office. He poured water into plastic cups and handed one to Tunde. Tunde swallowed hard. "Thank you, sir. My name is Tunde. He sent me. He said please help him. He's sorry." "He's nothing to me," Chijioke replied. "But you're welcome. What does he want?" Tunde's eyes brimmed with tears. "He wants forgiveness. He wants work. He'll do anything, sir. Please." Chijioke leaned forward. "Anything?" Tunde nodded desperately. "I'll wash trucks. I'll drive. I'll clean the office. Just please let me work." Chijioke pressed a finger to the desk. "Do you know why I broke with him?" Tunde swallowed again. "Yes, sir, because of the house." "Because they lied to me," Chijioke said. "Do you know how it feels to give your life to a dream that doesn't exist? To sacrifice everything only to learn it was all a lie?" Tunde's voice trembled. "I'm sorry, sir. I don't know what else to say." Chijioke leaned back, studied the man. He could still smell despair on him. He could see a reflection of his own pain years ago when he felt betrayed. He thought of his mother lying on her mat, clinging to his smile. He thought of his own tireless nights in Dubai. He thought of the silence that had become his refuge. He rose and walked around the desk. He placed a hand on Tunde's shoulder. "I will give you a job," he said quietly. "As a cleaner. You will start tomorrow at dawn. Come in through the back gate. Don't ask questions. You work, you get paid. You leave. Is that clear?" Tunde nodded, relief flooding his face. "Thank you, sir. Thank you." Chijioke let go of his shoulder. "You're welcome. Now go." The next morning, Tunde showed up at 5. He mopped floors, washed trucks, carried boxes. Chijioke saw him working hard, head bowed, grateful for each task. He drove past the compound twice a day, but he never stopped. He watched from his tinted window, satisfied with the small act of mercy. He had given little, but maybe it was enough to prove he was not heartless. Months went by. Tunde stayed. He saved a little money. He learned discipline. One day, Chijioke walked past the cleaning closet and noticed Tunde sitting on a crate. The man looked up, startled. "Sir?" Chijioke sat on the crate beside him. "You've done well," he said. "Soon I'll promote you to driver." Tunde's eyes filled with disbelief and gratitude. Chijioke continued, "But don't think this is about them." He pointed at the door to the hall where his managers worked. "This is about you and your work. You earned it." Weeks later, he gave Tunde the keys to a truck. The man wept and hugged him. Chijioke felt a measure of warmth he had almost forgotten. But he did not soften toward his own family. He simply understood that compassion could exist without forgetting. One evening he received another letter. This one was from a local charity in his home region. They asked for a donation to build a well and a small school. They mentioned his name respectfully and spoke of how his success inspired others. He read the letter twice and then called his accountant. "Make out a check for 2 million naira. Send it today. No fanfare. No announcement." His assistant later told him that the village chief personally thanked him. Children would drink clean water. Students would have a place to learn. Chijioke smiled. This was the kind of giving he could live with. Years passed. Bold Move Logistics became a household name. He married a kind woman named Amara, who knew his past but never pressured him to reconnect with his family. They had 2 children and raised them with stories of perseverance and integrity. Their home was filled with laughter but also respect for boundaries. One weekend, Amara asked, "Do you ever think of them?" He paused before replying. "Sometimes. I think of the good my mother tried to do. I think of my siblings' struggles. But I don't think of us together." She nodded, understanding that some walls, once built, were meant to stand. Then, one afternoon, he received a final letter. It bore no return address. He opened it to find a faded photograph of his mother holding him as a toddler. On the back, in shaky writing, it said, "You will always be my son. Love, Mama." He folded the photo carefully and placed it in a box with other mementos he kept locked away. He did not write back. He did not reach out. He simply kept it with him as a reminder that love could exist in memory, even when it could not be lived in the present. And so the story of Chijioke ended where it began, in his own hands. He had built his life brick by brick, not on promises or lies, but on sweat, resilience, and unwavering determination. He had learned that forgiveness could be given, but trust had to be earned. He had learned that sometimes the greatest love is shown not by letting others into your life, but by protecting yourself from pain again. The lesson of his journey is simple. True strength comes from knowing when to walk away and when to open your heart again. Trust is precious, built slowly, and once broken it can never be the same. But compassion need not be absent. It can guide us to help others without sacrificing our own peace. In the end, Chijioke found success not in wealth alone, but in the quiet power of boundaries and the grace of giving without forgetting. Thank you so much for watching this story on Luxury Stories 24/7. We hope it touched your heart and taught you something special. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing and emotional stories every day. We would love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments. What did you learn? What touched you the most? Until next time, keep showing love, stay kind, and remember, every story has a lesson.